Krzysztof Penderecki is a wonderful and incredibly important Polish composer who lived of course, during the Soviet time. And the piece that I'm about to play was written in 1982, which coincidentally happens to be the year that I was born. And it's a very, very special piece to me, actually. It's a 40-minute epic journey. And to me, there exist sort of 4 distinct sections. The first, which begins with the strings in a very sort of mysterious and you could almost equate it with a horror film type of sort of unison, very steady rhythm, but pulling away from each other, almost like a Doppler effect. And there are about 3 minutes of tutti before the cello actually comes in with a very, very mournful type of solo. And the piece is generally sort of a dark, a very sort of dark color. And this goes on for a little bit and then sort of develops into an incredibly rhythmic section, sort of a dance between the cello and percussion. And you can hear lots of clusters throughout that and some very, very sort of emotionally gut-wrenching type of orchestral writing. And very often, at least in the first half of the piece, the cello and the orchestra very often have exchanges rather than actually playing together. You'll notice lots and lots of cadenzas, which means that the cello plays all by itself. And it's very, very often this heated and anguished kind of conversation. And so that's something that's prevalent throughout the piece. And generally, the piece sort of takes this journey, and at the end of the third section really reaches this cathartic climax, and then comes back down into this sort of denouement, and you'll hear again the strings sort of pull apart from each other. This will be a recurring thing, but you'll hear it at the end as well. And then at the very end, there's a sort of chiming of the clock. So there's always this feeling of steady, inevitable time. And it makes for a very, very powerful piece of music.